because people bash protein too, because they say that too much protein is bad. And it's true. Too much animal protein is bad. The thing we're talking about today is that just like the body needs fat, it needs protein. And the design of the plant-based diet is important to assure protein adequacy. And the idea that you can just eat anything you want and you get enough protein is not true, because you could have a macrobiotic diet. You could have a fruitarian diet with too much fruit, because fruit's too low in protein if you're eating mostly fruit. Some of these raw food diets are too high in fruit and avocado, and they're not eating any cooked beans. They're not, and their diet may be low in protein, especially as they age. Because as we pass the age of 60 to 70 to 75 to 80, the amount of protein we absorb from the food we eat goes down, and our protein requirements go up, not go down. And therefore, some of these people who are thriving in their 40s and 50s will find they have immune suppression and failure to thrive as they get older. And I'm mentioning this, it's so important, because so many people have turned back from eating plant-based or vegan diets due to failure to thrive, because they're eating the wrong type of diet. And my experience as a physician, taking care of a large plant-based community with varied dietary habits, I've observed in my clinical practice over the decades, many people following fruitarian type or raw food diets have developed pneumonia, fungal infections, loss of hair and nails, and failure to thrive as they aged, because their diet was too low in protein. They were eating the fat and carbohydrate, but their diet was too low in protein.
Which is kind of funny, because I was at a coffee shop doing some work before this, and I ordered lunch. And when I ordered, the bartender asked me, "Hey, are you vegan? Like, I want to make sure, there's no cheese in that." And we were talking about it. He said, I was vegan for 3 years, but I stopped it because I was getting too skinny. He said I needed more protein. And we were talking about it a bit. He said, I didn't eat any of like the beans, tofu, all that stuff. So I had to add chicken and meat, blah, 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 blah. And I said, why don't you just add more beans and tofu to your diet?
Right.
Beans and tofu are so delicious. I couldn't imagine not having them in my diet. So if you're someone that's eating plant-based and not having those ingredients, I feel like you must always be hungry, and the fiber, it all makes you feel so full and satiated. So why would you not eat a protein-rich plant-based diet?
That's what I'm advocating. Because I love to do sports. And then, I love to ski, play tennis. Like, I go to the gym and lift weights.
Yeah.
And I don't want my arms being like sore after I did biceps exercise and pull downs and curls and stuff.
Right.
And I want to have an adequate protein in my diet, even though I'm not on a plant-based diet. So I'm looking to have these natural sources of plant-based proteins and the message here in this podcast is that paying attention to increasing these plant-based proteins in your diet has been documented in scientific studies to make you live longer. More plant protein. If you can remember anything from this podcast, it's that more animal protein shortens lifespan, and more plant protein, paying attention to it and getting more plant protein, not overeating calories, of course, makes you live longer. Mm-hmm. Increasing the protein concentration with whole plant foods makes you live longer.
Just to be crystal clear, so you're advocating for the optimal amounts of carbohydrates, fat, and protein, our macronutrients. And you could do so, I think, by just eating your G-bombs, right? Doesn't that kind of cover all our bases?
Greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Yeah, but it's a little lacking, because the G-bombs don't cover all the things you may want to eat. Carrots, beets, peas, sweet potatoes,
of course,
intact oatmeal. It didn't give you everything you might want to eat. It just gives you, because the G-bombs is just focusing on those 6 foods that have the most scientific evidence to prevent cancer. So,
right. Yeah. But when I was thinking about these foods, like what I shop for at Whole Foods or the grocery store, is it's really like the produce section. Like everything is game on in the produce section. You got your herbs, you got your garlic, you got any vegetable has some unique properties that are good for you. And some are higher in carbs, some are higher in fat. Like whether it's the avocado or the sweet potato, whatever you're mixing at the grocery store in that Whole Foods section is good for you when it's not processed. Then you have your packaged foods and all that crap that you might want to not associate with.
Sure.
But it's like, I love the fact that it's not so limiting, even though you're talking about these ratios and how you want to mix what's good, what's this, the optimal amounts. I feel like I'm not restricted or limited. I just like eating nature's food in these mixtures and bowls that I love.
That's cool, because I'm saying that it's people that fat is bad and they cut too much fat out of the diet. Bad. Mm-hmm. People who put too much, carbohydrate is bad. They cut too much carbohydrate out of their diet. They want to be keto.
Yeah.
Or they want to be zone. The zone is 40-30-30. 40% carbohydrate, 30% fat, 30% protein. Keto is 70%, is less than 30% protein, 30% fat. I'm sorry. The keto is less than 30% carbohydrate.
Yeah.
So it's like 20% carbohydrates, 30% fat, and 50% protein. 50, 30, 20, something like that, or 40, something in that range. They want to keep carbohydrate really low. Maybe fat's the most thing they eat, like 50% fat, 30% carbohydrate, or 20% carbohydrate after 50% fat, leaving 30%.
Wait, I have a question. Are you saying if for like keto or carnivore, someone that's eating a very meat heavy diet, say it's just like meat and vegetables, you're saying that diet, if it's mainly meat, is higher in fat than it is protein?
That's correct. Meat is more fat than protein.
Really?
Meat's higher
I don't
fat.
think I knew that because people are protein obsessed, protein crazed. I feel like that's their number one reason for going carnivore or keto is because they're like, I just need a ton of protein. It's
like a hamburger is like 35% protein, and then like 65% fat. Most meat is more fat than protein.
Right.
But even if the leanest cuts of meats it could be like 50-50. Maybe chicken or fish might be more protein than fat. But in any case, they're still getting an adequate fat and protein, but they're restricting carbohydrate. And what the studies are showing, so I'm saying here, the studies show two very interesting points. One is that carbohydrate goes down and deaths increase. And once you cut down to a lower amount of carbohydrate, particularly in keto, you have the highest amount of what's called early life deaths or premature deaths. Now, an early life death is a death before the age of 70. The average male lives to be about 75. So if you're losing more than 5 years of life, early life death before the age of 70 for a male, that's what keto diets show when they're tested long term. And I've got a whole bunch of studies in front of me, like 20 different studies that show the same, that all corroborate each other. And the carnivore diet would be the height of a dangerous diet. The most dangerous diet you could eat would be a carnivore diet. It's hard to believe. People believe this craziness, right? Just eating nothing but meat. So they have almost zero carbohydrate because we know that the risk of animal protein creates disease in a dose-dependent relationship. The more your diet restricts carbohydrate, and we're needing carbohydrate, we need protein, we need fat, but as you restrict carbohydrate and too low, you increase the risk of death. And the optimal carbohydrate intake, based on all these studies, optimally, is probably between 50% carbohydrate and 70% carbohydrate. The optimal fat-protein ratio is not the 80-10-10 that the fruitarians and part of the low-fat vegan community are advocating, but it's more like a nutritarian diet. A nutritarian diet is more like 60-20-20 or 70-15-15. We're talking about 60 to 70% carbohydrate and 15 to 20% protein and 15 to 20% fat. That's what the nutritarian diet runs around based on eating, a few ounces of nuts and seeds a day. And that's what the scientific literature has from all these studies. Those are the ranges where we get maximal lifespan and the most centenarians, most healthy, long-lived people. We have so much data here today, and I'm going to show you some of this incredible data. But the point I'm making is it's pretty interesting because it shows that there's an optimal carbohydrate range, there's an optimal fat range, and there's an optimal protein range for longevity that people have never heard of or are not considering because the advice they get from these people speaking at all these conferences and lectures and they are not accurate.
So for someone that might not know about your recommendations or your diet, how do they put that 80-15-15 or 80 it would be
70-15-15.
70-15-15 or
60-20-20.
60-20-20. Okay, 60-20-20. How do you put that into practice?
I get your point. You don't have to be a scientist to put it into practice.
Yeah.
You just have to, because when you're eating whole natural plants, they already have this kind of ratio. If you're eating maybe a half an ounce to an ounce of nuts and seeds with each meal, that means 1.5 to 3 ounces of nuts a day is what you and I probably eat, which puts us in that range.
It's like a sauce, an avocado.
Yeah, it's the right amount. And you don't want to eat more than an ounce of nuts and seeds with each meal anyway. That's about the right amount. You're overeating. That doesn't mean, LeBron James or, a big 6'10", 250-pound athlete who's that big isn't going to eat more food because they eat more calories. They're not limited to 3 ounces of protein. And when I was a competitive athlete in figure skating, my job was to exercise all day. And then I had to eat like 4,000 calories a day. I had double the amount of food I had to eat then.
I think Mom says like the whole back of your car was packed with food.
Yeah, I'd have like a bathtub full of food in the back of my car when I was training all day long.
Yeah.
So then I had to eat like 6 to 8 ounces of nuts and seeds a day. I had to go to class in college and I had to be eating sunflower seeds during the class because I had to go back to training again.
Yeah.
And I had to keep my weight, So then I ate a lot more. But just for most of us average people who exercise, an hour a day or a normal amount a day, then, about half an ounce to an ounce with each meal, or about 1 ounce. I consider 1.5 ounces a day of nuts and seeds to be the minimum because in the Seventh-day Adventist Health Study 2, this study published in 2018 with more than 80,000 participants is such a fascinating study because this diet where people were in the Seventh-day Adventist population, they're already eating a diet that's more plant-based, less animal products. And they found that the things that modulated death and lifespan the most were regulating animal protein, more animal protein made for shorter lifespans, and more nuts and seeds, as when nuts and seeds became your source of plant protein, that had the largest effect at lengthening lifespan.
Wow.
Of modulating. So let me just read this. It says, a total of over 80,000 participants, the animal protein sources analyzed, and the risk of cardiovascular death steadily climbed with higher consumption of meat protein, even in small amounts. A little bit extra meat protein made for higher cardiovascular deaths, and steadily fell, means the risk of death steadily fell in a dose-dependent manner with greater consumption of protein from nuts and seeds. So this was the first, that's why I say 1.5 ounces is the lowest amount, because in these studies it showed that when people went below 1/2 ounce a day compared to 1.5 ounces a day, there was a huge difference in longevity. And so to conclude this, it said the group with the highest meat intake was still less than what Americans eat, had a 60% higher risk of death than the group with the lowest. And the group with the highest intake of nuts and seeds, the cardiovascular risk was 40% lower compared to the group with the lowest intake of nuts and seeds, even among vegans. So we're talking about modulating risk of death among vegans. The biggest modulator is nuts and seeds in their risk of, increasing risk of death.